Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Torn Love, here bringing you your AEW Dynamite review for the 1 year anniversary show of AEW Dynamite for October 14th, 2020. Was a solid show. All four titles were on the line. We had a good tag team match between FTR and the Best Friends. We found out who will take place in the number one contenders match for the tag team titles next week to determine who will face the tag team champions at Full Gear. We saw the full bracket of the AW World Title Tournament that will culminate at Full Gear. Um, I give my thoughts on that. We also had Lance Archer versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship, and we had Big Swole take on Hikaru Shida, and we also had Cody versus Orange Cassidy. I'll go over all that. Again, thank you all for joining me. If you're new to the podcast, like and subscribe. Click on that bell for notifications. Get news updates on my reviews and my predictions and um, just all my sports on content and pro wrestling views. And thank you all, and get into the podcast now, shall we? So the show started off in quick fashion. FTR for his best friends for the AEW World Tag Team titles. They made notion that FTR was 11-0 and best friends were 17-6 in 2020. So they have definitely, because they earned this title shot coming off that parking lot brawl with Santana Ortiz just a couple weeks ago. So this one was good. They exchanged spots early on, kind of neutral, and then picking up in the match. Falcon Arrow by Chuck Taylor for a 2 count. Then they assisted Sunset Flip for near fall. They soul food half and half combination, then running knee strike for then the near fall for the best friends. They kind of had FTR in the ropes. Um, then there was a top rope back suplex that was countered to crossbody by Trent. Then the commentator made mention it was DT after DT after DT, DT fest, pretty much. And then there was a spike DT by Dax for 2. Strong Zero, the best friends hit their finishing move for near fall. Cash came in for the save. Trent, they were fighting on the outside. Him and I believe it was Cash Wheeler. So Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford were playing in this arcade set that was set up over the barricade, away from the ring, and was gone to start the show, and didn't know that was actually going to come into play, but it did. So Trent and Cash fought near this arcade cabinet, and then Trent actually went flying through the cabinet, which kind of took him out. And then Chuck Taylor made back in the match. They still try to get back in it, but then the finish came, which is kind of odd. So Chuck hit a standing switch on Dax, and then they ran toward the ropes, and then Cash Wheeler, he had the title or one of the tag team titles. And then the referee, I believe it was Rich Knox, he fell down intentionally, and then Cash Wheeler nailed Chuck over the head with the belt. Dax pinned him 1, 2, 3, and FTR retains. I mean, I would have been more on par with it or more okay with it if Tully distracted the referee, but that didn't happen. The referee just fell down and then basically allowed Cash to hit Chuck over the head with the title. But nonetheless, this was a good match. Um, Trent and Chuck Taylor are, of course, a solid tag team, but of course, the bigger story, and then we got more dialogue or more bringing towards story later in the show, which I'll get into to for the signing match at Full Gear, which we all assume it's gonna be Young Bucks and best, or excuse me, not the best friends, FTR for Full Gear, but this is a good way to start the show. Afterwards, um, after the cabinet got destroyed, Kip Sabian told Penelope Ford to go to the back. Um, he was in distraught over the cabinet being destroyed. Then Miro came out after the match, blindsided the best friends. And then they decimated the best friends. Um, afterwards, they had, or after that, they had a match with some jobbers. They decimated them. Miro, uh, he landed on, I'm still not sure what they're calling it, by his signature camel clutch finisher. Uh, they tapped out, and then after the match, they said, game, uh, the best friends, he called them good friends, but the best friends, um, you destroyed my shit, and then game over. So clearly now we're gonna get some match down the line between best friends and Miro and Kip Sabian. Um, I mean, best friends are one of the best tag teams in AEW, that's for sure. And then this is a nice little first little marquee match of Miro. I guess they're gonna get to that. Maybe it happens at Full Gear or a regular uh, show on Dynamite, but either way, it sounds good. I was a fan of the Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc tag team. Um, I thought they were growing. Obviously, they were um, both directionless, but now I'm sort of liking Miro and Kip Sabian as well as a tag team, if that's the direction they're going. So afterwards, we got to the back. Apparently, Lance Archer was beating up Moxley prior to their match later in the evening, uh, and he slammed. He had the EVD claw on Moxley, slammed his head into a table, uh, and there were officials holding Archer and back, as well as Jake Roberts holding Archer back. Uh, yeah, that was pretty much it. So then after we had MJF's big announcement, he came out and he called out Chris Jericho, and they he came out with the Inner Circle. Sammy came out. He had his jacket, but clearly he was upset. They all know that he finally had his jacket. Sammy didn't want to put on. Clearly, there's something was mishap. I assume that either it was going to be too big or too small. So Jericho was like, "Okay, you put it on, put it on." So Sammy was having a difficult time putting on his jacket, and clearly you could tell it was too big. It's like Sammy's probably a medium, I would say, medium, uh, small, and this was probably like extra large. It's like maybe it could have fit Wardlow, but yeah. So yeah, Sammy, he couldn't get his hands out of the arms either way. So MJF was praising Jericho. Um, he was asking if he could touch the air. Uh, he touched there, and then Jericho said, "Okay, cut the crap. What's going on? What's this big announcement?" So MJF was getting to it, kind of reluctantly type of way, and he was like, "What would happen if I kind of sort of wanted to hypothetically uh, wanted to join the inner circle?" And then so Jericho said, "Well, what if you kind of hypothetically wanted to complete to be the inner circle?" Talked about how they were the two marquee players in AEW and that they respect each other and that so Santana or no sorry Ortiz took the mic and he said, "No, we don't want you in this inner circle." So Chris Jericho said, "Well, no, wait a second. We're a family. We make decisions as a family." So they said they'll take some time and consider it. So then they walked off, and that was pretty much how it was. Or Chris Jericho asked MJF to a steak dinner next week, so that'll be an interesting segment. Um, I'm not sure if we're gonna get his answer then, but we'll see for next week. I mean, I don't think Chris Jericho needs MJF needs the inner circle, but I think it's a way to help get MJF the AEW World Championship enlisting the help of the inner circle. So it's weird because he has Wardlow with him, and so having that heavy is probably enough to put you over top. But I mean, maybe this is just their way to get the title on MJF. So, oh well. But fine segment. The next segment was kind of odd, to say the least. So, Britt Baker and Tony Schiavone, they were in a spa, and it looked like Britt Baker was getting a facial. And then Reba, I'm not sure what was going on. Well, it looked like Tony Schiavone was getting massage, and then she was getting interviewed, and then Reba, I'm not sure what, maybe she was getting her hair done. She had a bunch of pins in her hair, I'm not sure. Anyway, so Britt Baker called for Reba, and didn't think she expected Tony Schiavone to be there. I don't know. She just had a surprised look on her face. She's came out, I think, that the slides usually because there's like that stand, and then she puts the slides of paper up. Uh, so Britt Baker was talking about being a role model, and then um, so then all of a sudden they got um, upset at Tony Schiavone, and then all of a sudden they immediately went to him getting his chest waxed, which again weird segment, and then so they go from that to finally them getting a pedicure, and then more Britt Baker's talking about her comeback, how she's eventually next week she'll have her match. First match, I believe. Well, last week she faced Red Velvet, I believe, and then now she's coming back for another match against who? I'm not sure, but bizarre segment and just yeah. But cool to see Britt Baker back because the AEW Women's Division, of course, could always use more faces and um, well, Chris Statlander. I mean, she tore her ACL in May, so it's been 5 months. Uh, so she's gonna be out for next year, but I mean, she could help the women's division as well. I mean, obviously, because of travel restrictions, they have plenty of Yoshi women that are still unable to make it into the United States. So, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. So, next we had the second of two title matches of the night. Orange Cassidy versus Cody for TNT Championship. Uh, this was fun. This was fun. Excuse me. It started off a stalemate. First of all, Cody once again changed his hair, which I mean odd. He only had the black hair for like a couple weeks, and now he's back. I mean, I guess because he wanted to look more dark, more serious looking, because of his feud with Brody Lee. So he'll probably go back and forth when they pick up the feud again. But yeah, this was stalemate. Tope Suicida by Orange Cassidy. Darby Allin, he was in the Raptors or the bleachers. He was in attendance watching this match. Apparently, he's going to face the TNT champion at Full Gear. But yeah, so it was a victory roll by Orange Cassidy. Then he for two. Then he has stunner. Um, Cody rebounded, hit the Cody cutter. Disaster kick by Cody for a near fall. Then a top ropes reverse superplex by Cody. Then a diving DT by Orange. Michinoku driver for two. Then they were on the apron. Orange Cassidy hit the beach break. As little time was remaining, this lasted the time limit as we're getting down to the time or the 20 minutes. Then he rolled Cody back in the ring. He hit another beach break for a 2 count. I legitimately thought this was it. But Cody kicked out, and then what I don't get is time is close to expiring. Orange was stalling, and then he geared up for the the orange punch, and then his knee, which was focused on all match, gave out. Cody went for crossroads again, but Orange countered and go into a spladle, a roll up pin, and then time expired right as the referee counted two, and we go the time limit draw. Uh, you know, and apparently we're getting this match again in 2 weeks. Solid match. There was actually a moment in this match where John Silvers he looked to deck Cody because members of the Dark Order were ringside and in attendance, and John Silvers was about to steal or deck Cody with the title, and then the referee caught him and then ejected the members of Dark Order. Orange Cassidy, he held the title for a sec, and I thought, Cody was right there. I legitimately thought, plus the referee's back was turned, I thought he was going to deck Cody with the title, but it was like a little dissension. But instead, he gave the title to Arn Anderson. Then he rolled Cody in the ring. I'm intrigued. This match should be fun again in 2 weeks. I'm not sure. I wouldn't mind seeing Cody versus Darby Allin again. Nor will I mind seeing Orange Cassidy versus Darby Allin. But either way, this is a good match. Still keeps Orange Cassidy strong. Doesn't take a loss. And same for Cody. Just like building Orange Cassidy. So after we got an interview with Matt Hardy, he was at ringside. He was with his family. He was with his wife Rabbi, with his kids. He was being interviewed by Tony Schiavone. He said he was 100% that he's ready to be in action again. So next we saw on the Titantron, some person in a hoodie. There was like a zip line with certain images of Matt Hardy in his gimmicks on the zip line, and then this person with a lighter lit up on fire all these images of Matt Hardy in his different attires or gimmicks. So then we saw the image of this person. It was Sammy Guevara, and he announced that he was the one to attack Matt Hardy and take out his leg, and a couple weeks ago, and once again, and that he won't stop until Matt Hardy's legitimately saying, "Oh." So once again, we're revisiting this feud between Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara. See, I like it, then I dislike it. I like it because Sammy Guevara is good, and he's young, and Matt Hardy um, already will do what he can to help build Sammy Guevara and make him a legit threat. What I don't like is because twice we've had incidents. So in that brawl, back in that brawl weeks ago, we had um, Matt Hardy busted open badly because Sammy threw the wrong chair in Matt Hardy's face, split him open, and then, yeah, which basically took him out of action for a few weeks. And then we got to All Out, and that scary incident of when Matt Hardy's head bounced off the concrete floor, or bounced off the floor in the concourse area. And then they finished the match when he could see he was hobbled and see he wasn't right, see Matt Hardy wasn't right. And I mean, look, you think Matt Hardy probably, if they're gonna revisit this feud, they gotta take more precautions. They gotta make sure things are right because you don't want to have another scary incident between Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara. So, because obviously these both can go. We've seen on Dynamite in the tables match and another match between them that they both can go. They both have good chemistry besides that Broken Rules match and that one incident where Matt was split open. So it has its pros and cons. So we'll see where it goes the next couple weeks. But honestly, I was hoping for someone better. I mean, it could have been Jericho. Excuse me, which would have been easy because Jericho has the bat, aka Floyd. But I mean, it is what it is. We'll just see how it develops over the next few weeks. So, next we had a raffle to determine, because next week there will be a 4-way tag team match to determine the number one contenders for the tag team titles at Full Gear. This was okay, and yet kind of bizarre. Why? Because it's a raffle and multi-man tag team match. But I guess credit because they have a good tag division. This was kind of iffy though. So they drew the names of 4 teams. They went with Private Party first of all. Good for them. Then they did John Silvers and Alex Reynolds. I've seen Dark. They probably picked up some wins, but it's kind of bizarre when you look at the rankings and you consider they were in this no one are in this number one contenders match. Then we got the Butcher and Blade, which, I mean, they've been probably the breakout stars of the tag team division, definitely, uh, within this 1 year of AEW. And then Tony Schiavone picked out the last name, threw it down in disgust. The Young Bucks. So, yeah. So then all of them came out to the ring, or came down to the ring. All the teams are on the stage, or most of the teams are on the stage. And then they said, hold on. We're not here to super kick you guys. Are you Tony Schiavone? Then they super kick, I believe, Blade and John Silvers. And then a little brawl escalated between the tag teams. And they shook hands violently with FTR. This should be, if they give it the right time, it'll be a good match next week. Clearly, the Young Bucks are going to win. And then we'll get the match that we've all wanted for 5-6 years between Young Bucks and FTR at Full Gear. Should be interesting. But we'll see how it goes next week. Next, we had Hikaru Shida versus Big Swole. So this was okay. I mean, Big Swole, apparently she's the number 2 ranked contender in the women's division. But I mean, after that bizarre feud with Britt Baker, and now she's being thrusted into a women's championship match with Hikaru Shida. I haven't really seen much of her to be able to say she's a threat to be in the ring with Hikaru Shida. This was fine, I guess. But in the end, Hikaru Shida, she won with a running knee strike for the win. Big Swole, she needs more time to develop. Plus, I think we still have that sour taste in our mouths from her feud with Baker. Who does Hikaru Shida face at Full Gear? That's the question. I mean, they showed Nyla Rose at ringside. Could do another match between those two. I wouldn't mind. I mean, there are a couple options, but I mean, we'll see. Excuse me. So, next, we had a vignette of Shawn Spears. They were going back to last week when Shawn Spears told, Scorpio Sky good luck prior to their match, or a couple weeks ago when he told Scorpio Sky good luck for the match against FTR, and then talked about how Scorpio Sky came out to make the save after his match with Matt Sydal. I mean, clearly we're going to get a match between Shawn Spears and Scorpio Sky. Should be interesting. I mean, both are good. Both haven't seen much of unless you watch AEW Dark. But both are good, both are talented, and I mean, I wouldn't complain about a Shawn Spears Scorpio Sky match. So there's that. Next up, the main event: Jon Moxley versus Lance Archer, AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Made into a no DQ match because of the brawls between them throughout the night by Tony Khan. I thought that because Pentagon, Phoenix, and Eddie Kingston were on commentary, that they were going to make an interference in this match. But no, this match, it was good. I mean, Jon Moxley hit a paradigm shift off the bat for a near fall. You wanted to end the match as quick as you can against Lance Archer. Then they fought to the outside. Tope Suicida by Mox. Archer hit a pounce to Moxley. Then a senton from the apron to the outside by Archer. Then Moxley regained the advantage with two big clotheslines. He threw a chair in Archer's face. Like, geez, that one's brutal. And then a choke slam by Archer onto two chairs that were set up. Then they were going to the outside. There were two tables that were being set up. Or they were set up, I believe, during the commercial break because I didn't see live. So Archer went for, I believe, the paradigm shift onto Moxley through two tables. Moxley hit a low blow on Archer, and then hit the paradigm shift on Archer through the tables. Rolled him back into the ring. Hit another paradigm shift. Archer kicked out for two. Then Archer regained the advantage. He chokes Moxley into the corner. Had him up for the blackout. Hit the blackout. Had to cover 1-2. Then Moxley countered the pin. The crucifix. Pinned him 1-2-3, surprising Archer and retaining the AEW World Championship. Solid match. Kind of disappointed. I felt it could have been could use more time. I think they really needed the raffle and the segments between the Orange Cassidy and the main event. I believe all those could have been subbed out for more time for the Moxley versus Archer match, but they kind of rushed it, and then, but still, this is a good match. Archer suffers another loss. It's kind of disappointing because, well, he was on tear and then he lost to Cody. Then he was kind of on the directionless, but still on a tear. Then he won the Casino Battle Royal. And then he had some direction. Now he's lost to Moxley, who, I mean, it makes sense. He is the guy in AEW. But you just kind of wonder where does Archer go from here? I mean, it kind of makes sense why they didn't put him in the tournament. I mean, they could easily slide him to the tournament, and then he could redeem himself. But still, I don't know where Archer goes, because I guess we'll see. Afterwards, Eddie Kingston and Ray Phoenix and Pentagon came in for the save on Moxley. Uh, Congratulating Moxley for his success in AEW on his match. Uh, Raised his arms in the air. Moxley looked reluctant. Then, out of nowhere, Eddie Kingston hit his spinning back fist finisher on Moxley, knocked him out, and then he put on a rear naked choke on Moxley, choked him out, and then referees and officials came out to try to separate them. But Phoenix and Pentagon tore them off. Kingston took the title and he said, "This is all we fight for." And he threw it at Moxley, said that your time is coming, Mox. I'm going to get you. I did not tap. Clearly, this feud is not over. It is going to lead to some. I think with all the talk of I did not quit, I did not tap, I think this is going to lead to a Kingston for Jon Moxley I Quit match at Full Gear for the AWO Championship. A Kingston's great, and this feud is definitely going to be interesting. Or it has been interesting, and continuing it should just be fun and fun. But that was how the show went off the air. Was it a good show? Yes and no. It was kind of underwhelming for the 1 year anniversary show. You thought maybe there could be a debut, a return. I think if circumstances were normal, probably, but was nothing over the top, I would say. It was a fun, I would say, 1 year anniversary show. Nothing too much, nothing too little. Was all right. So yeah, that was the review. Next week, we got that steak dinner between Jericho and MJF. We have the number one contenders match for the tag team titles for FTR for Full Gear between Young Bucks, Butcher and Blade, Private Party, John Silver's Alex Reynolds. And I forgot to mention it, but now I'll mention it, the bracket for the AEW World Championship tournament was revealed. The first round matchups are Phoenix and Pentagon facing up against each other. So the Lucha Brothers facing each other. That's a weird way to start off, but won't complain. We got Kenny Omega versus Joey Janela, which I don't get why Joey Janela is in this. I guess Kenny Omega and Janela have both have solid matches. I guess that's what they thought. Honestly, you could have done Janela versus Phoenix, or could just swap the opponents and then put them on the other side. So maybe you get Omega versus say Pentagon. They had a good match all in, and then maybe um, the winner of Hangman and Colt Cabana. That's the another match, and then I believe it was Wardlow and Jungle Boy. So, but I believe wasn't the best way they could go about it. I hope. Now, the predictable way would be Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, because they're both on the opposite sides of the bracket. They meet in the finals, culminating at Full Gear. I would not mind a match between them. I would love a match between them two, but I don't think I wouldn't mind it. But at the same time, it's a predictable route. At the same time, you could have Kenny Omega lose, say, a match against Pentagon, like he beats Janela, and then Pentagon beats Phoenix, and then Pentagon beats Kenny, and then Hangman, say, beats Colt Cabana, then he loses to Wardlow. That's a thought. But yeah, it should be interesting. My theory is also you want to have Wardlow look tough, and him losing to someone would just be odd because he's MJF's heavy. So that would be kind of weird, but nonetheless, that's the bracket also for you guys. It's an okay bracket, but it's being built around Kenny and Hangman, so I guess it's okay. Nonetheless, that was the review for y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm AJoe2InLove. I'll have a video for you guys tomorrow. My sports overview topics, number 17, part 2, because the Bills and Titans were on Tuesday. So I'll give my thoughts on that and also my predictions for week 6. But nonetheless, thank you all for joining me. I'm AJoe2InLove, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.